All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching us across the state in Nigeria. Say welcome, welcome. I think I'll keep saying Happy New Year because there are quite a number of people that are just tuning into the show. Again, I say Happy New Year. A well-planned campaign, let me start from there, is rooted in clear values and a strong vision, and of course can be, when I say I don't know how to put this, catalyzed, if that's for lack of a better word, for shaping a better future. And the power of a political campaign lies not in the election of the individual, but in the ability to bring about real change for the people. Again, I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, Kike Lomatonda. And of course, I have Damilola on the platform today. Dami, how are you doing? I think this is the second time I'm seeing you this year, correct?
Absolutely, yes,
Yes,
correct.
I think I love the coily hair. It suits you more.
No, you are always wearing gold, and I wonder, she defies all odds in fashion, just the way you defy all odds on this table. I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing too?
I'm well. Quickly, before we overwhelm our viewers with pleasantries, let's go straight to on this Day in History segment. And of course, this remains one of the war that took place, and is still visible till today in terms of the ideology and the crusade of the so-called Biafra nation and the independent people of the Biafra. We continue to push for greater autonomy and even independence for the region. And the topic of Biafra today remains a sensitive one in Nigeria. This topic was one of the topics I treated on my radio show yesterday, where what's it called? One of the activists, Barrister Malcolm, Omurubo, shared a lot of light from that angle. But guys, let's continue to be a source of division, a source of light in this country. And division is the last thing I think that we need. But guys, let me hold my breath and let's hear more on our This Day in History segment video. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On this day in 1970, exactly 53 years ago, Biafra contemplated ending the Civil War. The Civil War in Nigeria lasted for 3 years between 6 July 1967 to 15 January 1970. Here we are today. The remains of the war still remains in the ideology and crusade of the so-called Biafra nation and independent people of Biafra. Our lessons learned?
All right, Dami, let me come to you quickly. What's your take on this Day in History segment?
I like the last bit. Our lessons learned. It's a question for everybody. At least I want to say that in Nigeria, if you're above the age of 20, you should have heard stories and read. Some of us were not alive then, at least 52 years back. But we can read and see the antecedents of what even caused this agitation. And the agitation, if we're asking our lessons learned, because in this 2023, there are still really hostile agitations about or from the Biafra people. Now, moving forward in another 52 years, are we still going to be talking about 52 plus the previous 52? That's 104 years fighting for one cause. I really hope that the Igbo nation will come together and find a lasting solution. We cannot begin to drag what happened, what caused it, because even the damages in some families still linger till tomorrow. And how well can we hold our hands as Nigerians? Let me ask you too.
Fantastic right there. 53 years ago, to be precise, was what took place. And it's reminding us again what we leave behind in terms of legacy. And I like the fact that, it ended, like you said, with our lessons learned. And it's a good question because I feel that, the Biafra nation even started even before the Civil War actually started. And today, when you look at it politically, economically, you're asking yourself what has changed, because the problem have continued to linger on. And I just feel that the fact that everybody is agitating for separation, I'm asking, that is not what the country actually, when it comes to Nigeria, when it comes to hospitality, what that we are known for, that's not what we stand for. So I'm not sure if I'm on the table where I will support the dialogue of separation. But if that is what will bring peace, maybe,
long-lasting,
maybe. But at the moment we have seen how the Yoruba nation, even the IPOB, everybody, Yoruba nation agitated for it. The IPOB are clamoring for all sorts of issues. We saw what happened in Ojota Freedom Park at the Femi Freedom Park as well. We saw what happened there. And I'm beginning to ask myself, you know, just like I normally say that it has become a culture. If 53 years ago, things haven't changed, so we should be asking ourselves, what will it take us for us to come to the table to dialogue for peace? Because I believe in protest, peaceful protest. I believe in us coming together, you know, for us to dialogue and look for how, you know, things can be done. You know, let me quickly also add to the fact that Nnamdi Kanu have not been freed till date. It has only been freed based on the court papers. Again, you're asking yourself, when exactly, when the rule of law will take place in this country, where everybody can actually live happily in harmony. So it's just unfortunate that this, again, on this industry is reminding us of some of the antecedents that have happened in the past, and we are hoping that our unborn children will not continue in that journey. But quickly, let's get a message from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, on today's live show, I'm pleased to have Mrs. Folashade Aliu, the National Secretary for the NNPP political party in Nigeria, join us to discuss the political strategies, development, and of course the campaign plans for the presidency. You know, Mrs. Folashade Aliu is a seasoned political strategist. Yeah, that's the word I would like to describe her, with a deep, you know, understanding of the inner workings of Nigerian politics. You know, we can't wait to hear her insights on the NNPP plans for securing the presidency with the future, and of course with our party, you know, with all that is going on thus far. I was opportune to watch it live when they actually unveiled a lot of their campaign council last week. I think I should hold my breath. Let's see more of our profile. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, many thanks for connecting with us from our Abuja studio, Mrs. Folashade Aliu. How are you doing today, ma? Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you very clearly. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Evening already, or afternoon?
Yeah, we're afternoon. This is a lunch show. So, ma'am, let's go straight to the topic at hand, because the technical directors have actually wasted a bit of my time. So, quickly, we have 44 days left to the presidential elections, which is, for me, I must ask you, have you been able to, which of your I's have you dotted, and how many of your T's have you been able to cross as regard to the grassroots campaigns for NNPP? Even though, yes, I was opportune to watch all the necessary live footage that happened last week in terms of strategic people being in different positions, in terms of bringing value to NNPP. But what are the T's that you've been able to cross thus far?
Well, thank you very much for that question. But I will tell you that we are at the point where we are very deliberate, we are very strategic in the places that we attend. But before that, let me tell you that we have been to more than 400 local governments. We've been to all the states but 3, now but 2. And we have put our schedule together in such a way that every location that we go at this point, it is deliberate and intentional. And the reason why I said that is that when INEC put out the schedule for campaign period, we started right away. Even though we're not so rich enough that we have the media followers everywhere, we have gone through the roads, you know, from Abuja to Edo to, you know.
All right, where we're trying to reconnect, establish connection again. You know, Damilola, you've heard what she have said with the fact that they've been able to cover over 400 local governments and all of that. And I like the fact that she's talking about digital, about media people, because however we look at it, you know, media or digital have come to stay. Okay, I understand that we've been able to reestablish connection with our guests. Ma'am, can you hear me now?
I am hearing you.
Yeah, okay. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, so I'm saying that so far I have not heard of any other party that has been able to do a cross-country in that manner. Just like I said, we have been to almost 450 local governments out of 774, and that is huge. So we're doing very well. So far, so good.
Okay, thank you very much. Today, I'm asking you again, if you have gone to over 400 local governments and we have 774 in Nigeria as a whole, do you think that the NNPP is enjoying so much popularity? Because I will say that even now, the social media has given credence of popularity to the Labour Party, and I am not seeing it as such with the NPP. What would you say about this? And I remember you mentioned that there's a media deficit somehow. So how do you intend to win over if there are still a lot of local governments to cover and the popularity is not so robust?
Well, what I would like to tell you is that the dynamics of politics in Nigeria is changing. It has changed. It's moving. However, it's not everybody, not all the voters are moving at the speed of light in terms of technology. You still have a lot of people in the villages, in the countrysides, that they do not look at social media. I like social media. I'm an IT person, so it creates perception. That's correct. However, my little grand auntie in the village, on that election day, she will go out, she will stand up despite her age, she will want to make her mark. So what I'm saying, in other words, is that it's a multi-level, multifaceted experience for everybody. And like I said earlier, for us, we are very strategic, we are very intentional, we're very focused. And like if you follow my principal, distinguished Senator Rabi Musa Konkoso, is that he's a grassroots person. He's a grassroots person, but nonetheless, we're at the point where we're still going to go through some town hall meetings, you know, consultations are going on, grassroots mobilization is going on. So you will begin to see us at a different level between now and the election day.
Listening to you, ma'am, I'm happy that you were able to keep us up to speed, because at the inauguration event that happened actually a few days ago, I think on Monday, in my head, I was thinking it's last week.
Yes, that's correct.
Alhaji Kwakanso said we have covered about tens of thousands of kilometers and visited over 300 local government areas thus far. And you are saying that it has been updated to about over 400, so to speak.
Yes.
I have two questions for you, ma'am. How does that change the game in a country of 774 local government, like my co-host asked earlier, with over 176,000 words? Because I remember bringing the director for voters card on my radio show, and he pointed out that even the local cards or the PVC can be collected in words now. So I would like to ask you, how have you been able to cover that thus far? That's my first question. And the second question is the fact that you cannot put aside the fact that politics is a game of numbers. The scheme of play involves the supporters of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the G5 governors having a serious impact on the dynamics of this election. Your presidential candidate, you know, was once in PDP. How much of an influence is he using to outplay all these tactics that is happening right now, especially with the the 5G governors at the moment?
Well,
or G5 rather?
The way I would like to answer you with that question is that we are at a critical junction. It's, this crossroad that we are going to go through with this election. It's different. It's not like any other one. I will tell you straight. Then number two is that, look, for instance, my principal is in Bauchi today, traveled by road. He could have decided to go by helicopter, by chartered flyer, and what have you. But like I said, we were deliberate in the sense that we want him to be able to see people, look at their eyes, feel them, let them. Some places we've been to, they will tell us that even a local government chairman has not been to that village. Some village we've been to, some people are scared, oh, security will not, if you go in, you can't come out. So we have done that. It's all by the grace of God. And like I told you, we have a schedule that we follow, and we are following it to the letter. So INEC will do its part. In this election, we are all supposed to roll our sleeves and make sure. And I'm seeing a lot of improvement compared with the last election in terms of voters' awareness. A lot of voters are very conscious. They are waiting. They are looking for what they want to hear. They want to feel. They want their leader to be accessible. They want somebody that can feel their pain. So what I'm saying, in other words, is that with the 774 local government, we are going to go through each and every one of them by the grace of God. And on this trip, for instance, we're in the phase of our zonal rallies. We are having Bauchi today. We are going to do Kaduna for the North Central on the 14th. We are going to do Lafayette for North Central on the 16th. On the 18th, my principal, distinguished Senator Rabi Musa Konkuso, will be at the Chatham House. As soon as he comes back, we're hitting the rest of the zones. So if you're doing it, if you're looking at it by flying through the chartered flights, you can't make it. Even if you're looking at it through by chartered helicopters, you cannot make it. But when you go by the road, I am telling you, we just continue to pray for all of our team in terms of their strength. But this can only be done by somebody who is dedicated to the project of Nigeria, to make sure that by every means possible, within his power and by the grace of God, that is going to do everything possible to build a better Nigeria after this election.
All right, talking about being in Bauchi, eating the rest of the zone, quite frankly, the numbers are apparently in favor of the ruling parties, the APC and the PDP, going by their rally figures. I just try to keep it real on this platform, and I would like you to convince those who are watching us right now. And you spoke about the South, you spoke about the eastern part of the country, you touched on the North as well. Do you think it won't be struggling votes with other parts of the country, even though you think with all the places that you would like to touch, do you think that it will not be struggling based on what I've said earlier with the ruling party and, of course, PDP as well?
Well, you see, in the back end of any campaign structure, you sit down, you look at the numbers, you look at the figures, you look at the past, you look at the current, and also you look at the projected numbers. And you sit down and see how you are doing, what you need to do, and how you are going to win the election. And that's exactly what we are doing. Look, election is beyond polls. If you ask me about the polls, how do they compose their data set? What yardsticks do they use to select the people that they're polling? And like I told you, some areas in Nigeria, even in the city centers, what class of people, what status of people, combination of, because I'm a data analyst myself, and I know for you to get a proper projection, you cannot have that kind or that's so much the wide range of the undecided. It's not done that way. But I'm not going to undermine anybody's effort. I will want to see it as part of our development. At least we are moving in the right direction, even if we are not getting it right at the moment, but at least we are attempting to move to the right direction. So What I'm saying, in other words, is that yes, they have so many governors, those ones that are supportive of them, so and some of them that are still fighting among themselves. It's okay. But you know that this election is about the individual, the leader. What kind of leadership are we looking for? I ask myself, and I ask people. And of course, governors will have influence, but I will tell you that people are pained and they are ready for the true change. So that's going to affect some of, the voters' decision, but I will tell you on a wider range, individuals will have to decide for themselves, what they want for themselves and their children and their grandchildren, and of course for the country. Thank you.
All right, ma'am. I like the fact that you had already mentioned that any leader who wants to at least bring change to Nigeria must be accessible and must feel the Nigerian pain. But in peradventure, I know that, let me take you back, I know that the last election, Alhaji Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso also contested before Buhari got into office, and this year he's come back. But between the space of 4 years, it didn't seem like there was really any ground slide breaking from Alhaji Rabiu Kwankwaso in terms of reaching people. And it appears to me in my head that it's just once it's 2 months to 3 months to before the election, that's when everybody begins to run. So my question particularly, peradventure, if things change and Alhaji Rabiu Kwankwaso is not in office or installed as the president of Nigeria, is it going back to base, or he'll continue to work, hoping to run for another 4 years?
Look, let me tell you, he is a man that is very determined, very focused, very strategic. He's a person of integrity. He believes in Nigeria. He believes in the fact that Nigeria can be better. And most of all, he respects human beings. So, and how do you do that? You can say, everybody can say, I will do this, I can do this, I have a foundation and the rest of it. But this man is very active in a lot of people's lives. I'm telling you, with a twinkle of an eye, he will call a meeting. Even sometimes myself, I will tell him, are we sure that we're going to have enough numbers? Should we do this and that? He said, Madam, do not worry. And that is to say that when you have invested in people's lives, they will equally invest in your life, in your project, and in your leadership. And that is the way it's supposed to be. It's a two-way traffic. But unfortunately, generally in Nigeria, we have leaders that sees us as just mere numbers. And they make policies and they take actions that impacts our lives negatively. When Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso was not even in government, wasn't even in the Senate, wasn't anywhere but himself and his business and his family and the people of Nigeria. He sent people on scholarship. He continued to mobilize. He is a very strong mobilizer. So he continued to organize, and for whatever it is, he will continue to do that. But by the grace of God, we're winning this election. And the one that you mentioned, in the primaries of the APC in Lagos, you see, if you go back and look at the figures, it came very close to the current president, Muhammadu Buhari. So that will tell you that this is an exceptional and uncommon organizer. And anywhere he goes, anywhere he has been that I've seen, my goodness, I ask, where are all these people from? But you find that without having to give them money, to say money for mobilization, money for food, money for e-cares, money for transportation, people come out. We have a lot of volunteers, and that was part of the issues we have with our campaign organization. What we did on Monday was just the formality, because people kept coming, but we have to get to the point that we say, look, there must be a point, and we must give out letters, and people are already working. A lot of people are already working. So that's just the person he is. So by God's grace, we will win this election. And going forward, he will remain the good person, the patriotic citizen of Nigeria that he has always been. And he's a nationalist. He has friends, he has business associates. And Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is somebody that he doesn't flaunt what he has achieved in the face of everybody. He respects human beings, he respects every kind of profession or trade. We have a lot of artisans that are supporters. It's unbelievable. So that's just the person, and he will continue to impact their lives one way or the other. And I want to quickly say that that's what brought the program that we will be introducing within the first 100 days of his presidency, is that the program we call the Community Participation and Reorientation Program. He believes in the people, and he believes that people should be able to make decisions on the behalf of their community together, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, whether you are educated or you are non-educated, whether you're a professor or artisan. He believes that there's a point in time that we need to come together and make Nigeria better, and that is the way it can be done. That's the only way it can be done. All right. So we have this community participation program, and I will tell you further about it later. Thank you very much.
All right, many thanks for your elaborate submission. We'll go on a quick break to get a word from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. For staying with us, we have with the key players or the key player in the political arena to discuss the current events and, of course, their plans towards the election. And today we're excited to have Mrs. Folashade Aliu, the National Secretary for the NNPP political party in Nigeria. She's joining us, so she has joined us via our Abuja studio. And of course, I must remind people that she is a seasoned political strategist, and of course with a deep understanding of the inner workings of the Nigerian politics, and with all that she has been sharing thus far, with all her insights on the NNPP plan for securing the presidency, and of course their vision for the future of the party is what we have been showing more light on. And again, I must say many thanks for all you've been sharing thus far, Mrs. Folashade Aliu. But quickly, let me open our phone lines for those who might want to join us on this platform. Remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 009887740 showing on your screen right now. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube page, both on Silverbird platform and on Real Talk with Kike. Ma, let me start by saying that I know quite a number of people who have been beneficial to the sponsor of education by Senator Kwankwanso himself. And today, these people have added value, despite the fact that they went to school abroad. They've added value back to Nigeria, which is one of the good things that I like about your presidency, your candidacy. But with all that you have shared thus far, I just want to say that, Rotimi Amechi, the Vice President of Sibajo and others have met with Tinubu. The G5 governors that I've mentioned earlier in Nigeria are also scheming their plans in favor of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So obviously they are against PDP, where Senator Kwankwanso branched out from. How do you think that this will play out in the election in terms of the numbers? I keep emphasizing on this because I know that politics is a game of numbers. Even governance, however you look at it, it's not rocket science. So can they swing all these numbers for your party and work for you is what I'm asking. And if your party is being affected, what are the emerging parties that you think that your people, will be able to say, okay, we want to go back to APC or want to align with another party, because we know this happens in our country, because there's no ideology, guarding any of our politicians. Let me put it out there. I like to keep it real on this platform. So what's your take thus far with this?
Okay, before I answer that question, let me quickly point out a note of observation. Okay. My role with the presidential campaign organization of Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwanso is the way it's addressed is I'm the national campaign secretary, which is equal or which equates to the director general of the campaign organization. Okay. Because we, at the party level, we also have the national secretary, Mr. Dipo, who is in charge of the secretariat of the party. I just wanted to make that observation because I've had a couple of people mixed it up. So now let me talk about the governors. All of these 5 governors, they're also friends of Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwanso. So we don't know. And for me, the way I want to address their issue is that let them take care of their business. For us, we'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll consult, we'll project, we'll work out, what we have planned to do. If they decide to pitch towards us, that's icing on the cake, and we will be most grateful. But however, there's no way you can run campaigns on the fact that maybe this person, maybe that's not any sign of seriousness. So whichever way they're going, they're staying with their party. They're going to other parties. But mind you, 4 out of the 5 of them are also running for one office or the other. So I believe that they have to be very, very mindful of what they do. And they keep telling, at least we're hearing on the news and pages of the newspapers and social media, they were going to declare this and they were going to declare that. But I think they should sit down properly and be focused, because this is not a child play. And I'm not saying that they are playing, but I'm saying that when in a group of 5,
all right, Damilola, what's your take, with all she has been able to share thus far? This is not child's play. Obviously, with what that is happening right now with Wike's camp, the G5
governors,
what's your take thus far?
Well, I like the fact that if you want to sell a market, you should sell.
That somebody was about to give a woman 5,000 or 15,000, I can't even remember. The woman rejected and said that the future of my grandchildren, the education of the children of my neighbor means so much to me. The health services that you will provide, my roads, the markets, the commercialization of, the entrepreneurs, what are they doing? Everybody is suffering. So 15,000 naira cannot solve her problem, and she refused. And I believe that there's so many Nigerians that will do the same. So let's allow the governors, the 5 governors, to mind their business and do their thing, and let's see how it will play out. But for us, we'll remain resolute, we'll remain focused, we remain very strong in our beliefs that we're going to win the first round of the election. So if they are coming, they are most welcome. Like I said, they are all friends of the house. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. I like the offering of the house and the icing of the cake. But I know that Senator Rabiu Kwakwanso is heavy on education. And in this sense, part of my research also said that he established about 230 secondary schools, 47 technical colleges, a Chinese college, French college, Islamic colleges back then in Kano. Do you think that this feat that he's been able to achieve as a governor will rise into him being the president of Nigeria? And do we look at a situation of ASU to be a thing of the past if eventually he emerges as the president of Nigeria?
Well, let me say this. Even though Senator Rabi Musa Kwakwanso is not a teacher, but he's a very strong believer in the formation of any human being by giving them the right education and making sure no child is left behind, and make sure that teachers are trained, make sure that we have a proper, humane kind of classrooms, if you will, not only classrooms in schools, of course. And look, and when he came up with the issue of 500 classes across the nation, it's possible. It's possible. It can happen. And that singular program will impact Nigerians at their local level, within their families, within their community, to the extent that it will be like a magic. Because when we decide that we're going to do that 500 classroom, it's not like you are building 2 at a time or 10 at a time. You are simultaneously engaging communities across the nation to build these classes, bring the contractors from their community, bring these and that. You will even find that at some point, even some citizens of those communities will add on. Because when you see your government doing well, appreciating you and doing the right thing, you want to be part of it. And it has happened. Even in Kano, when he was doing the same thing, we spoke about it and he told us, he said, look, before this program came to bear, people would be building, constructing classrooms, and some other citizens will be busy stealing the windows and the roofs and what have you. But when you engage the community properly, and when I say community, the different layers of people, of statures, of religion, and what have you within the community. So it becomes their project, our project, everyone's project. So it's not easy for anyone to go and take off the roof and windows at that point. So we can do that. That's number one. Number two, teachers will be trained. Number three, we are saying that Nigeria universities and furthering your education should not be for the rich and the rich only, in the sense that some people cannot pay for WAEC, they can't pay for JAM, they can't do this, just little things, they fall out of the crack. And what do you see? They drop out of school. So those are not supposed to be revenue generating entities for the country. So we are going to do that in addition to what is on ground in terms of the elementary school. So people are saying, okay, how are you going to do it? The unity schools. You can only take decisions on the things that are within your purview and within your portfolio. And when we do it, people will appreciate it. And people are already even looking at the fact that this is a singular program that they are looking forward to, and they want to believe that within the first 100 days or few months of our presidency, that this thing should come to bear. And we're looking forward to it. So in terms of studying abroad, well, I don't think there's anything wrong in studying abroad if you study abroad and come back. But you see most of our leaders today, the government, the state sponsored them, gave them scholarship to go out of the country. And they came back better. But where we got it wrong is when you have people of status, well, I don't want to define what status is, but we know when you have people like that they do not want to take their children to public schools, and then at that point, the public schools start downgrading. Let me tell you, my kids went to public school in the US. If I want to take them to private school, there was no need for that because the community is participating in the development of the school. The PTA, they are doing very well. We volunteer on, several levels. We contribute. We do so much. And even when you get to the public school, you cannot even get a private school that is better than a public school. And that's what we're looking forward to, that we are going to build this sort of education, both at the tertiary level, both at the secondary level, and the primary level, that you do not need to take your children to the private school. So it takes all of us. It takes somebody to say enough of this. And we must do better.
All right.
Thank you.
Many thanks for that. I think this might be the last question on this platform because we are running out of time right now.
Thank you.
We still have the last segment of the show. So, okay, apology. I understand we have a caller on the line. Sonny, many thanks for calling from Edo State. What's your contribution on the topic at hand? Please go straight to the point, please. Sonny, are you there? Okay, apologies. I have to let that go. Ma'am, with all that you have shared thus far, I understand that one person will win and others will lose. And Professor Rufai Ahmed Akali, your party chairman, was on my show last year. And just last week, he said all political leaders must also be bound to accept the verdict of the electoral umpire or judge. And on no account should anyone come afterwards to, will I say, undermine the credibility of the forthcoming 2023 election, he said. So, because of the whole world is watching right now and social media has made us a global village, Nigerians believe that when the elections are over, the candidates of parties that have lost, just like I said earlier, that only one person will win. I stand to be corrected. I feel that none of them will be compensated, and some will start lobbying to join the winning party and the likes because, for lack of a better word in this country, there's no ideology guarding any of the parties. So what will be the direction of your party after the election, win or lose? I think that's my first question. And just to wrap it up, if you can help me, is the fact that I'm really yearning to see female governors and even a female president in our country. I like the fact that one of the states right now, I think Mrs. Binani or something, is also, vying to be a governor in another. I think, I can't remember the state now, active minds like you and deep-rooted politicians like you should be playing parts to most of these globalitarian elections. When do you think that we should see someone like you actually go on that line?
Well, let me answer the first question first. Yeah. Our chairman, Professor Alkali, well, you know that he has been in politics for a while and he has distinguished himself. It's a good manager of people and the rest of that. But I just want to reassure you that NNPP is here to stay. And we are going to win elections. And it's not only the presidential election, but let me also remind you that we have candidates.
While we are trying to reestablish connection again, Damilola.
Okay, I think I know that from Adamawa State, the Mrs. Binani, yes,
yeah.
and it was a good one for me to say, okay, fine, if women can step in, this is not the first time, and we also have Khadija Tokunu for the presidential, but if they will let us, because politics is really, really tough, and looking at the last...
It requires money.
It requires money, and that's what she's also emphasizing on.
Guest is back. Are you there, ma'am?
Hello, I'm here, but
yeah,
it looks like...
Yeah, we lost you for a few seconds. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, we have a few seconds left.
Yeah,
okay. So, but basically, what I'm trying to...
We lost you for a few seconds. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, basically what I'm saying is that our party is here to stay, and what we are vetting for is not just the presidential candidate. We have candidates across the board, from the top to the bottom. You know, we were able to fill all of that. And we have them campaigning in their localities. So that's number one. Number two, after the elections, you know, the management of the party continues. We begin to prepare for the next election. So that's the way it works. So it's not the issue of after the election, somebody win and somebody... Look, all of us, every one of us in this party, to the last person in the party, we have joined this party because of the level of our patriotism and commitment to this country. There are so many ways we can impact lives. But we believe that as decision makers, we can make policies that are people-centric and business-friendly. So that's why we are doing what we are doing. We are not doing this just because we want to win one election of the presidency. We will win that, and we will win several more offices across the nation. So we'll continue to impact Nigerians one way or the other. We will continue to educate Nigerians. We will continue to mobilize Nigeria and talk to Nigerians.
All right,
whether we win or not, but we will win by God's grace.
Many thanks for all your submission thus far. It's been an interesting one with you on Real Talk with Kike today on our lunch show. But before we let you go, Ma, there's the last segment of the show that we call Trending Stories. These are stories that affect you and I together. And the first trending story that caught, my attention on social is the 83-year-old journalist that bags a university certificate. Damdola, let me come to you quickly before Moses start running commentary in my ears. What's your take on this?
All things bright and beautiful is never too late. Get it done, hit the ground running, and of course, if that's the man's long life ambition to be a PhD holder, he's gotten it at 84. What's your excuse? What's your hindrance? Somebody is gunning, one of our fathers, our grandfathers is gunning for the presidency of Nigeria at this point. So what's your excuse?
No
excuse.
All right, many thanks, Damlola. For me, this story of an 83-year-old journalist graduating from a mass communication degree from the University of Lagos, University of Unilag, Lagos, is a powerful example of the importance of lifelong learning and pursuing one's goal regardless of age. And the fact that I hold the same certificate, from Igbinedion University, 20 years ago, I'm asking myself, that's not an excuse for you to continue to acquire more, even though I've done so. But an 83-year-old man, there's no excuse. And I began to wonder what propelled this old man at his age. And he said to himself, he must have been convinced one way or the other to think that there must be an impact from his own end to contribute to the society that we belong to today, or to change some narrative, so to speak, because I kept on searching for his name. I kept on Googling all sorts, just to understand the mindset. Now, we have seen what has become a reality to him and even to his children, and to a lot of us, that age is not a barrier at all. And furthermore, I just feel that it serves as a motivation to young people for me, showing them that it is never too late to achieve your dreams, and the fact that, the impact in the society is also a positive one, if you ask me. There are a lot of negative that trends on social media. This one for me was very, it's like, I just want to be honest.
He's not the only one.
And as it is, I just feel that it has demonstrated that even older individuals can also make valuable contribution to the workforce, and also continue to be active, to be productive members of the society. I don't want to touchlight my partner right now, that he too is continually, learning, trying to get more qualifications. Sometimes I wonder, what do you need this qualification? You already have your name, you already have a brand, But additionally, I just feel that this news is also a positive in terms of nature. Yes, nature, in the sense that we can help to promote a more optimistic outlook, if you ask me, in terms of the Nigerian society. It shows that there is still more inspiring individuals out there in this country, and we are working towards bettering ourselves, you know, even our community. Sometimes I tell people that when people say you owe nobody anything, it's a wrong mindset, and you owe your society, your community, your children something. Somebody helped you to get to where you are, and you must give back to the society. It might be intellectually. Sometimes it doesn't have to be in form of cash. Ma'am, let me come to you quickly. What's your take on this?
Well, I would summarize that to say that's the power of determination, the willpower. And when you want to continue to add on to your knowledge, you can never go stale, because if you don't continue to grow, then that means decay begins. So for somebody like that, and just similar to what Senator Rabi Musa Kanko said, it was just 2022 last year that he got his PhD in water engineering. So that's to say that even though he has the ambition of going into this election as a presidential candidate, but he still sees it. He told us, he said, look, madam, we have to pause for a while. I need to go and finish up and make sure I get my certificate, because he has scheduled. So we all should do that. And I believe that is a good example for all of us to continue to learn one thing or the other. If you can't do anything, just learn how to do something.
Fantastic.
You'll find that there's a lot to life.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Let the youth take a cue from this. So quickly, let's touch on the second trending story. The second trending story is about the woman that delivers baby after calling Wike's name 3 times. Damilola, let me come to you. This is so hilarious to me. But let me hold my breath. What's your take on this? You know,
I saw the video yesterday, and as yesterday or early today, either between yesterday or today, and in my mind I said everybody has religionalized everything. If there's a word like that, please permit me, because everything,
one for yourself,
I mean, I created an adjective, because everything feels like religion. We tie it to religion. Probably in the abstract world, the woman was already ready to put to bed. Let me use that kind of language. She was ready. The babies must have been coming. Pikin wey no come, no go come. Either you shout the God of somebody or the God of anybody. And sometimes I'm a bit partisan with our religious people. When you begin to call the God of somebody, yes, it appears that maybe in the outside world, the God of that person seems like he's sparking wonders. But do you know the God that they call behind closed doors when you and I are not there? So we should be careful of saying so many things. But the religious leader could also be looking for the good sides of Governor Wike. So it's a two-way for me.
All right, talking about the good side of Governor Wike, let me start by saying, well, there's nothing we don't see or hear in this country, especially when it comes to politics and all sorts. You know, we see all sorts, Damilola, and it's so annoying to me. I don't understand how deeply a politician can, will I use the word, infiltrate or infiltrated or invade our brains in a way that a woman will want to deliver, and she'll be thinking of, you know, all sort of names to deliver our own baby, the God of Wike. Well, I don't want to believe that the same God for Wike is the God for everybody, because I don't know the kind of God that Governor Wike is actually serving. Say, I want to put it out there. So it's just funny how we people we place human beings beyond what they should be. Apart from the fact that what she wants to benefit, so to speak, allegedly, the fact that, you know, we see all sort of the God of Baba Adeboye, the God of this. Even though I understand or like the God of Baba Adeboye, I can align to it to some extent, you know, because it's obvious that, you know, he's a Christian and he has all sort of, you know, but the fact that people can actually start, they can immortalize you and idolize you and start saying all sorts, is just it's unforgiving for me, if you ask me, you know. And if I don't know what to say, I just want to believe that the director also, who came to actually deliver the message, if you watch the video, I'm sorry to say this, is jobless. Yes, to deliver such a message, you know. And I'm wondering what kind of shenanigans is going on here in the name of politics. I'm just tired for us. I just feel that we are clueless people in this country, and it's time for us to actually start waking up to understand that the politics or the election of 2023 is not a joke. It's not. We are clamoring for a quick change, a visionary leader. This is not the time for us to actually turn everything into
on social media. This is cruise.
Ma, I don't know if you have anything to say to this. What's your take, Ma, on this? I don't know.
I would like to approach that very quickly from, using my sense of humor, that as a woman and as a mother of 4, that you don't want to have somebody like Yoruba will call Jagunlabi, like waking inside you, and you won't want to get it out very quickly. So maybe the woman was having a little challenge. You get in the baby out, and he thinks the baby is going to be as stubborn as waking. So she wants to get it out of her body as quickly as possible. That's the only way, because I don't know, like you said, I don't know the God that wakes house. So how should I, how will I want to say that I align with that or not? But look, I guess that's just my own interpretation.
It's just mentality that we find ourselves in. Again, many thanks, ma'am, for all your submission on this show today, and it's been an interesting one indeed with you being on the platform today.
Thank you for having me.
Many thanks.
I appreciate you. Thank you for the good works you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We wish you the very best as you continue to forge ahead in your political career. I think on this note, this is where we draw the curtains of the show. Till I come your way next week, remember to go and get your voters card. We are just maybe 44 days away from election. Remember that is the card to your future. Please and please and please do not sell your vote for stomach infrastructure. Remember that what one person does affects everybody.
Absolutely.
So that is the reason why we must come together to put a visionary leader out there. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. You are? I
am Damlola Banire, and may the God of Kike bless all of us. Yeah. Amen.
I don't understand why you just